Hello everyone, we are going to create a beautiful and interactive chatbot application using CSS and JavaScript. We'll be creating chatbot that you currently seeing on my screen which responds to the user's input. If you say hello, it's gonna wish like hey, how are you doing? And if you ask for today, it will display the today's information. And the same way if you ask for time, it will display the time. We can use this chatbot to perform some of the functionalities of our application too. Like if we have the create user functionality, we can simply ask create user. It's gonna invoke the create user functionality and display the end result. And if you ask for something that is not yet available like edit user, it's gonna say hey, sorry, I can't do that right now. And if you type something random, it will give some general message. We are going to create this application in two parts, and you will be learning so many concepts of CSS and JavaScript like animations, creating JavaScript modules, and how to integrate our chatbot with service. So we are going to learn so many things. Now let's get started. Create three required files: new file, index.html, style.css, app.js. Create HTML boilerplate code and change the title from document to chatbot, and let's run this. Right click, open with live server, create HTML markup for the chatbot. So container, and this container is going to have chat header, chat body and chat input. So chat hyphen header and then chat hyphen body, and finally we're going to have chat hyphen input. Header will be having logo and title, so logo plus title, and logo we show the image, so image src images slash cwt.jpg and alternative text cwt. I have stored the images under the images folder, and title let's chart, and body for now let's have the message called messages here. Later we are going to remove it, and this input section is going to have the input text box and send icon. So input hyphen sec plus send, have the input text box with id text input, and in the send button we are going to have the image with src images slash send.svg, and alternative text will be send. So with this we are done with creating HTML markup. Now let's style it. So before that, let us refer the style.css in HTML page. So link href style.css. So go to style.css. As a first step, let us reset the margin and padding for all the elements. So margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing border box. And I am going to use the Google Fonts Fira code. So go to online and search for Fira code or pop-ins, and select one of the style, click on the import, just copy this, just use on top of everything, and then just copy this font family. So it is going to apply for all the elements. So now it has applied. Have some dark color for the body, so body background 4b6. Define the container. We are going to have the height 420 pixel, width 350 pixel, background color ash fff. We are going to show the chatbot bottom right, so we are going to have the position fixed, bottom 50 pixel, right 10 pixel. Now we have at the bottom right, then box shadow 0 pixel, 0 pixel, 15 pixel, 0 pixel, black color. Define the chat header. Height we are going to have 60 pixel, and display flex align item center, padding 0 pixel top and bottom, and 30 pixel left and right. So background we are going to have some blue color, light color as fff. Here we are using this light color 2 times, right? So we can simply create here variable like light hyphen color ash fff, and let's use it here where light color, copy and just use it here, and let's have some font size 1.5 rem, and style this image and title. Chat header space logo, height 35 pixel, width 35 pixel. Let's have some box shadow. I just copy and use the same box shadow here, and instead of 15 pixel maybe just have 10 pixel. define the chat header space image height 100% and width 100%. Have some padding left for the title. So chat header title padding left 10 pixel, chart body height 300 pixel, display we are going to have the flex, and as of now leave it like this, and we are going to extend it whenever required. And then chart input height same as header 60 pixel, display flex, align item center, and now define this text box. So text box we have the id called text input. Let's have the line height 30 pixel, go to HTML, id should be text input. Yeah, padding 8 pixel, 10 pixel, border none, outline none, and caret color we're going to have some black color. Go to HTML and let's have the autofocus by default, so autofocus, and also let's have the placeholder. So placeholder, let's say type here, and go to style.css and have the font size 1 rem, and let it take the width 100%. So we have this input text box inside the input sec CSS class. So now let's define this, and here what we are going to do, so we're going to define it and take it 90%, so flex 9, and then we're going to have this send CSS class, right? So we need to define the send CSS class. So for the send CSS class, let's have the flex 1, padding right we're going to have some 4 pixels. Cool. Now we can see that it occupies the 100%, 90% width, and here we have the image. And for the chart input, let's have some border top. So border hyphen top 1 pixel, solid ash CCC. So now we are done with CSS part 2. Now let's work on JavaScript part. So before that, let us refer this app.js. So here I am going to say script and src app.js, and we are going to use the differ keyword so that our JavaScript will be loaded once HTML completely loaded. We need to access this chart body, input text box, and this send button. So const chart body equal to document.createSelector, and let's take chart hyphen body. Let's copy and paste it, text input ash text input. So because we have given id, and this should be send, and this should be send CSS class. So now we need to listen to the click event of this send image, right? So send dot add event listener, and let's have the click, and we should have the callback function, and here we are going to call a function render user message, and we are going to define this function. So take this and define here constant render user message array function, and here we should have the user input. So user input equal to, so text input dot value will give us value. Here I am going to call the function render message. So render message element, and we are going to pass user input. Define this render message element constant render user message, and it takes the text, nothing but user input, and just use the equal to here, and here we are going to create the message element. So message element equal to document.createElement, and we are going to create the div, and then we are going to create the text node. So text node equal to, so document.create text node, and we are going to pass the text that is user typed. Then we are going to say message element dot, we are going to add some CSS class dot add, and say user hyphen message, and then message element dot append the text node, and finally we are going to append this message element to the chat body. So chat body dot append message element. Cool. Now let's go and type something here, and before that let us remove these messages here, we don't require now this one. Save it. So now let's type something hello and press this send button. There we go. Now we can see the message here. Let's have some padding for this chat body, like 8 pixel, 10 pixel. Now if you type something, hello, hey, whatever, so we are going to show it. We can see that all the messages are coming in the same line, so we have to use the flex direction column. So column, now it's cool. And once we type the message, we are not clearing it. Now let's go to app.js. Let's clear it here. Text input dot value equal to just empty string. Now just type something hello and press this send button. We are clearing it. But each time we type the message, we have to click this send image, right? So instead of that, let us listen to the enter event of this text box, so that if we just type and press enter, we are going to see the message. We need to listen to the key up event of text input. Text input dot add event listener, and we need to listen to the key up event. Key up have a callback function, and this callback function is going to receive event dot key code equal to 13. Then we are going to call this to render user message. Now just type something, enter, there we go, hello. But we don't see any styling for these messages, right? So let's define this user message. Take this and go to style.css and define here dot user message, padding like 8 pixel, and then let's have some background color as ccc, and now let's have some margin 5 pixel. Cool. Now we are going to have the width. Currently it is occupying the 100% width, so we are going to have the width max content, so it will occupy whatever required. And then let's have the border radius. So border radius, top left 10 pixel, top right 5 pixel, and bottom right 10 pixel, and bottom left 10 pixel. And even you can make this, maybe instead of 5 pixel, let's make 3 pixel. So we need to show the user message on the right side. So for that we can go to the chat body, align items, flex end. Now we are done with showing the user message, but we need to show the chatbot response for the user message. So for that I am going to create a new file called response.js. So response.js. Here we are going to create an object with some user inputs and chatbot responses. So const response obj equal to object, and here if user say hello, then we are going to say hey, how are you doing? And the same way, if user say hey, and our chatbot will say hey, what's up? And if user asks for today, and chatbot will reply with today's date, like new date dot to date string. And same way, if user asks for time, then same chatbot will return the time, so new date dot to local time string. So for now let's have these keys and values. Now in order to use this in script.js, first let us refer this in index.html. So let's refer here script and src response.js. Once again we are going to use the refer keyword. Now we can use this response object directly inside the app.js. So here I am going to create one function. So const get chatbot response, and it is going to take the user input. So user input, and here we are going to say return response object. See, whenever we hover on this, it will show all the keys, so it is available inside the app.js. And response object of user input. If the user input is not available in the list of object keys, then it is going to return the undefined value. So for that let's have the check here. If response object of user input equal to undefined, then please try something else. Otherwise just send response object of user input. Before we calling it, let's create another function to render the chatbot response. So here we say render chatbot response, and we are going to pass user input. And now let us define this render chat response function. Let's come here, maybe here you can simply say render chatbot response, and it is going to take user input. Here we can say constant response equal to, now we can call get chatbot response, and we can just pass user input, and then we can make use of this render message element, right? So simply we can call render message element, and we can pass the result. So here we are getting the result from the get chatbot response, and that response text we are passing to render message element. Now this will create the element and it will append to the body. Let's say hello, there we go, hey how are you doing, and let's say hey, and this time we are going to get hey what's up, and if say today, and we are going to get the today, and here we can see that the text is overflowing, right? If you say something like time, see now this time is being shown here, so text is overflowing. So go to our chat body and define the overflow y. So here simply say overflow y auto. So now we can see the scroll bar. Now the user message and chatbot response both are having the same styles. Now let's change it. So go to app.js and let this render message element to take another parameter. Let's say type. Define the class name equal to, so let's have the user message as default class. Here we are going to have the condition like if type not equal to user, then just have the class name as chatbot message. So chatbot message, and let's use this class name instead of hard coding it. Let's pass this type render user message and here user, and now just type hello, there we go. So for the user message we can see the style, but for the chatbot message we don't have any style because we have to define it. The chatbot message also can say the same properties of user message. So then let's have some different background color for chatbot message. So chatbot message, and we can have the same this header color, right? Take this, let's have the background as this one, and color we can use the light color, so where light color. So we need to align this chat message left side. So since that message is part of chat body and where we have applied display flex and flex direction column, we can use the align self property. So align self, and we can say flex start, there we go. So we are going to have the different border radius for this chatbot message, and here let's have 10 pixel, and here let's have the 10 pixel. Here we're going to have some. So now we are done with styling user message and chatbot message. Now when you just submit some message, we are getting the chatbot response immediately, right? So instead of that, let us add some delay, because in real-time applications we are not going to call this response.object, right? So we are going to make service call, and that takes some time. So go to app.js, and as of now we can simply say here we can use the setTimeOut. So setTimeOut, and let's say some 600 milliseconds, and inside that we can call this. And now if we simply say hello, and after 600 milliseconds we are going to get the response. And in the same way if we say hey, and after 600 milliseconds we are going to get the hey what's up, right? It's like time and then today. And here we have a problem. So whenever there is a overflow, we need to scroll to the bottom. So instead of that we can set the scroll position. That will be very nice, right? So for that let us write a function called set scroll position. Here we are going to check if this chat body is having the scroll bar or not. Body dot scroll height greater than 0, and if it is having the scroll bar, then just chat body dot scroll top equal to chat body dot scroll height, and that will fix our issue. So let's call this after rendering the chatbot response. So here, so use this, just type hello, hey, time, today. Now as soon as we got the chatbot response, we can see that scrollable position is set to the bottom, which we wanted, right? I think we can stop here. In next session we're going to see how to implement animation for user message and chatbot message, and how to create chatbot service and integrate it, how to implement expand and collapse feature for chatbot and other features. Thank you for watching, and please do subscribe to my channel.